Thank you everyone that's joined in. Welcome to this Instalive. I hope everyone is having a great Sunday so far. Today our topic is Bach Flower. So today we're going to talk about the Bach Flower Remedies. We're going to talk about why, how, what are they. Elle is going to give us insight into the Bach Flower Remedies. So let's start. So my first thing, I'm going to let you take over, and I want you to give us a little insight about what is Bach flower and any history or anything that you want to give us in terms of
Hi,
definition.
Jogs. Nice to have Jogita with us. Just to inform everyone that there is not a single Bach flower workshop that I do alone. Jogita and I are facilitators, always together for Bach flower workshops. I may have other workshops separately, but Bach flower workshops are always with Jogita. And Jogita and I have co-authored a simple guide to Bach flower. So that's also there and it's available. You can always contact me. So let's start. Okay. First of all, there are people who pronounce it as Bach, like I do, and there are people who pronounce it as batch. Okay? Both pronunciations are correct. I'm not very sure which one it was. There are some who insist that he was Dr. Batch and not Dr. Bach, but I call it Bach, and so I'm going to stay with that. So he was, he's no more, of course. He died in 1936, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's that old?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
From the 1800s?
No, 1930.
He passed away in 19, but this must have come in the early 1990s.
Yeah. So Dr. Bach was a Harley Street specialist. And as soon as I say Harley Street, you know that he was in the traditional line of medicine, the so-called allopathic line of medicine. He was not at all into these flower remedies or anything. He came from a completely science and medical background. He studied at Cambridge and was an extremely well-known, well-recognized Harley Street specialist who specialized in bacteriology and immunology. And so actually, Dr. Bach is the best person to help us through this pandemic when we really need to build up our immune system, because that is the background he came from.
Okay.
After practicing for a good many years and creating a very good name for himself, in the meantime, he got cancer. He was given 3 months to live. Instead of living for 3 months, he lived on for, I think, another 20 years.
Wow.
When after a certain while, he realized that this so-called germ theory of disease, the germ theory of disease is what, Kajal, that everything is caused by a germ, a virus, a bacteria. All doctors and science will, of course, tell you that it is always something that leads to a physical disease. And that's why it's known as the germ theory of disease. Now, that was actually Dr. Bach's background, because he was a bacteriologist, he was an immunologist. But he, sometime along the way, he just gave up this germ theory of disease, and there was a reason why. He began to question one thing. If a virus has the ability to cause disease, if a bacteria has the ability to cause disease, which it does, he never flouted that, it does. Why is it that you get it but I don't? And sometimes I get it but you don't? Right? If the virus is, or the bacteria is in the air, in the water, in the food we drink, why is it that some people get it and some people don't? If that was the only reason for disease, Dr. Bach said, it stands to reason that if there is a virus present, every single person who is in contact with that virus should get it. But he realized, because that was his line of work, that it doesn't happen. You and I might be in contact with that same virus. 3 days later, you are sick and I am absolutely fine.
Right.
So he says, virus is only the catalyst. It's only the trigger. There is something else that is causing the disease by using the virus, by using the bacteria. Now, this is an interesting one because of what's going on all around us.
Right? So he actually spoke about a strong immunity way back then.
Oh, that was his specialty. That was his line of specialization. So he left and he started questioning himself as to, if not germs, if not bacteria, if not virus, then what?
What?
Now, as we know, Kajal, every time we ask the universe somewhere will open a door to bring the answer to us. So his question was answered in the most beautiful manner, and the Homeopathy Institute of London asked him to join them. Please understand, he was not a homeopath. He was into traditional medicine. He was not a homeopath. So isn't this ironic that he was asked to join?
So when you say traditional medicine,
allopathy.
Yeah, so he used actual allopathy medicine.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Right?
He did not use any natural form of medication.
Nothing. Okay. That was not his line of work at all at that time.
Okay.
So when he started his quest of, if not the virus, then what? The universe opened up a door. The Homeopathy Institute of London invited him to join. Very soon he became the head of the institution. In the course of that, what he started doing is naturally learning homeopathy.
Okay.
But not only learning about the medicines, but learning about the philosophy, the science behind homeopathy. You see, even today, Kajal, people will call homeopathy a pseudoscience. They don't believe that it's an actual science, because medicine still hasn't recognized that the emotional body causes the disease. So they call it a pseudoscience. In the course of being the head of the Homeopathy Institution, Dr. Bach realized that here is the answer I'm seeking. Because homeopathy was able to teach him this philosophy that there is no disease, none. No illness, no pain, no toothache, no headache, no nothing that happens to the physical body without there being an emotional unrest. This is the answer he was seeking. So he realized, now I understand that the bacteria, the germ, the virus is only the trigger. Why I caught it, or why I become sick but you stay fine, is because there's an emotional imbalance. That emotional imbalance will affect my immune system. When my immune system is compromised, that's when the virus, the germ, the bacteria will say, wow, fertile ground. But otherwise, it comes into my system. My immunity is strong because if I am in emotional balance, the virus, the germ, the bacteria will die a natural death and it will not affect me at all because my body has the immunity to fight it.
Yes.
So when we are talking in this day and age about build up your immunity, everyone is only talking about the magnesium and the zinc and the vitamin C and the falana and the dhikna. No one is talking about, hello guys, emotional balance.
Yes.
None of these tablets, none of these things that you take will have the least bit of effect if there is no emotional balance. So Dr. Bach, after some years, decided, I will look for another system of medicine, another system of healing. He never called it medicine, another system of healing. But Dr. Bach was very keen that the system of healing he brought out should be one that would self-empower everyone. He wanted it to be a system that when you learn it, You can practice it for yourself and everyone else. We need to give the healing power back into the hands of people where it rightfully belongs. So he left London, and with a few very, very faithful friends of his, moved out of London into the suburbs, bought land there, started moving around with plants, because homeopathy is also derives all its cures from plants. So taking that history, he went and he started living amongst nature. Now, Dr. Bach moved from the germ theory of disease to intuitive medicine. This is known as intuitive medicine because there was no science behind Bach Flower Remedies. It is interesting how Dr. Bach would land upon a cure. So supposing on a certain day he woke up feeling particularly crabby and irritable, he would go out into nature and just put his hand on top, not even touching the flowers, a little above the flowers, different flowers. Suddenly one flower would make him calm down totally and the irritability would go. He would make note, this flower heals irritability. Then it would be, okay, today I wake up feeling very gloomy. I don't really want to do anything, like a dark cloud is over my head. Once again, let's go and try all the flowers. One flower makes him feel bright and happy again. All right, that goes into the journal. So Dr. Bach believed that the sunlight that passes through the dewdrops on the flower, the combination of water and sunlight is able to draw forth from the flower the healing power of the flower. When he realized this, he realized how he could combine sunlight and water, which to date is the way Bach flower is made. So all the 38 remedies did not come up at the same time, Kajal. Right? They came up as the first 12. Then they came up as the next 7 in the next year. Then he experimented even more, and in the year after that, he came up with 19.
Okay.
And in 2 years after that, he died. It was the universe saying, your soul mission on earth is completed. And this is where soul mission is so important, Kajal. If I am living a life that is not aligned to my soul mission, I will be in such inner agitation without knowing why. So I had a session that day, Kajal, with someone, very well-to-do, great businessman, has done super for himself. He started talking that there's something, I just don't feel like work anymore. He called it laziness. And I said, it's not laziness at all. It's your soul mission now calling you and saying, please stop that. So he was in a state of inner agitation with a lot of acidity and no sleep and yay and woe and whatever, diabetes. He's not following his soul mission. So when that soul mission was revealed and he knows now what direction to take, for all of us it happens. When we start living as per our soul direction, the emotional, mental, spiritual system all align as one. And when it aligns as one, the physical system has to follow.
Yeah.
And is therefore in alignment. Conversely, if I react, I am angry, I am jealous, I am envious, I am grieved, I am lonely, it completely agitates my emotional system.
Right.
And invariably, due to that agitation, I will veer off from my soul mission. Whether I do it for a day or whether I do it for a year or whether I do it for years. The longer I stay away from my soul alignment, the sicker I will be.
Okay.
So, Dr. Bach's remedies are different from homeopathy.
Yeah, I was just going to come to that. That was a question. Then, well, how is it different?
It's different in this way, Kajal. First of all, homeopathy remedies are very complex. They have a lot of things going into it. So it's a very, very, it's a compound, it's a complicated compound, right? Bach flower is simple. It's the energy derived from one flower, and it is stored in order not to lose its energy in brandy or any kind of alcohol. So it is an extremely simple one. Secondly, homeopathy cannot be and should not be practiced on your own. Because of the complex nature of the compound, there are so many tiny variations that you might be able to hit upon the right one by chance, or you might totally miss it. Bach flower, on the other hand, is an exceedingly simple method of study. Once you know it, you apply it immediately. You don't need a degree, you don't need a certificate, you don't need anything to start practicing Bach flower on yourself, on your family, on your friends immediately. And Jogita and I have seen this every single workshop of ours. People start using it at once. And we are joyous when they will message us to say, so this was the case, Jogita and Elle, and this is the combination I used. What do you think about it? And they're so bang on correct. And that's such a joy, because that is what Dr. Bach wanted, that people should use it on themselves, on others, simply. Now, because the emotional balance is so important, Dr. Bach realized that there are 7 reasons. Yes, Bach flower works only on emotions, Palak, and homeopathy also works on the physical symptoms. Dr. Bach, when you go to a Bach flower practitioner, you will tell them your physical illness, but they will ask you many questions in order to go to the emotional root. Then that emotional root is healed by Bach flower. And the spelling is B-A-C-H.
So on the same lines, I had a question.
Yeah.
We have determined this in our previous session also, that no, and even today we kind of stressed upon it, that no physical ailment happens without an emotional trigger.
Yeah, absolutely.
And an emotional trigger always is because you have a headache and you are cranky because of that headache.
Correct.
But the reason for that headache has to be an emotional trigger.
That's right.
Anything seen, heard, whatever.
Yeah.
So if homeopathy is used to take care of the physical aspect of your ailment, and Bach is something that we use to get your emotions in balance so that headache will go away, wouldn't Bach just be a better alternative?
No, Kajal, you've got me a little wrong. Please understand that I use homeopathy all the time. Before Bach came into my life, ever since I was a babe in arms, Mom has always put us on homeopathy, and that's what I continue still. My children, my family, my dogs. Now, of course, we are all on Bach as well, right?
Yes.
When I say homeopathy looks at the physical symptoms, homeopathy will treat both the physical and the emotional.
Okay.
It's not that in fact, homeopathy will not ignore the emotional system at all, not at all.
Okay.
But they will ask you detailed questions about the kind of headache you have, right side, left side, in the center. Do you feel cold? Do you feel hot? Is it half a head? Is it the full head? All these. Bach will not bother. You've said headache, that's all I need to know. Now I will ask you, what do you feel? What is the emotional content? I will go straight to the emotional content.
Yes.
That is the difference. Okay. Now, because the emotional content is so important, Dr. Bach divided the emotions into 7 categories.
Okay.
Yeah. The first category, he said, is fear. the human race is ruled by fear. We give different names to fear. We call it anxiety, we call it worry, we call it concern, we call it terror, we call it horror, we call it whatever. It is still fear. The second is uncertainty. All of us live in a state of fear because we don't know what's going to happen. We are uncertain about the future. Now, the future is unknown to us, but we want to know the future. Why do we want to know the future? Because we want to prepare for it. So we start controlling people, we start controlling situations. So uncertainty and the agitation that uncertainty causes was a huge, according to Dr. Bach, a huge trigger for emotional imbalance. Then Dr. Bach saw that people are really not interested in the here and the now. I am either living in the past, Kajal did this and so on did this and this one did not do this, and when I needed someone, that person was not there. Or we live in fear of the anticipated future. So what will happen now when the coronavirus is done, when the lockdown is done? Will I have people who will work for me? Will I have the money? Will my business come back to normal? That's not here and now. The past is not here and now. We live there or we live here, but we do not live in the present. So this lack of interest that the human race as a collective shows in the present is a huge trigger for emotional imbalance, because I do not appreciate what is in the here and now. Because my head is either there in the past or there in the future. And the divine brings you a gift here and now, and you don't even look at it.
The sense of gratitude is absolutely missing.
Because we are not mindful. Then the next category is loneliness. This feeling that I am not connected vitally to people around me. I just had a session where this person's loneliness comes from something that happened which she's lost the connection with her divine. That creates loneliness. When I am not in connection with myself, that creates loneliness. So there are so many levels and layers of loneliness. Then there is interesting one, I love this one, oversensitivity to other people's ideas and influence. And you know, when I first started, no, that's number 5 now. That's not uncertainty, oversensitivity.
Okay.
When I first started learning Bach Flower and I saw this, I said, really? Dr. Bach thought this was an important enough emotional group. But in my line of work, I am now realizing the wisdom of Dr. Bach. So many people are worried about what will someone say, what will my husband say, what will my mother-in-law say, what will my children say, what will my friends say, how will it look? No, I don't want to dress this way, I don't want to wear this, I don't want to do this. Please don't tell anyone I'm coming for your sessions. They might think I'm gone mad, that I'm going to a spiritual healer. We are constantly living our lives as a showpiece for someone else to see. Can you imagine the kind of stress we live in? So this oversensitivity is very, very important.
And then what has actually increased that, this whole the show thing that you're saying, is social media.
Oh, absolutely.
So very, very ironically, today somebody sent me a meme actually saying that before you parade yourself on social media, at least block the people who know the actual you.
Ooh, nice one. Nice one. I love that. Because that's what I read. And I am saying, really? Is that what you've written? Okay, that's what you've written. Let's go with it. Then there's a very big emotional group, Kajal, sadness and despair.
Sorry, when you say loneliness, does that also come from missing people in your life?
Oh yeah, that is
That,
loneliness. Absolutely.
okay.
You know, it's human nature to want to belong to someone.
Yeah, yeah. The feeling
It's
of
human
belonging.
nature. Yeah. So sadness can come from loneliness. Sadness can come because you've suffered a big loss. Sadness can come because someone is not in your life anymore. Sadness and despair can come when you have a very long-term illness and there just seems to be no hope. So it's such a deep feeling of despair that nothing is going to work out. And that is a huge reason for a lot of disease and a lot of illness. And the last one, which I realize I had and I still do fall prey to, caring for others at the expense of self.
Self-sacrifice. That's my reading for today.
Ah, that's it. And I have to constantly pull myself back and say, Elle, you are tired. Now say no, even if it is your child asking something. And you know, the truth is, Kajal, it's not that people are demanding. So if my son or my daughter asks me for something and I say, you know, guys, I'm really tired right now. May I not do it just now? They will 100% say, Mom, just go and rest. Don't even think of it. They are not demanding. People are not demanding. We are demanding of ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? Why do we make these demands of ourselves, Kajal? We want validation. We want validation from an external source. So I realized how much of this I was doing in the past. We have to slowly become aware of that tendency in us and move beyond that, because then what happens is, forget about anything emotional. If I get very tired and my poor husband has to say one word to me, I am going to bite his head off. Correct? So there is the cycle of emotional disturbance that has already started. And I could have so easily stopped it by just saying no.
Yeah.
Right? So, no, I think let's take questions. I think, tell me what you want.
There is no question, but I have a few. So I've actually written them down today because then I forget to ask. Okay, so we've already done how is Bach different from homeopathy, which you told me. Yeah, interesting. I wanted to know this. If Bach is so simple, as you said, to administer yourself, why do people still need to go to a practitioner?
Oh, nice question. Very nice. And let me tell you one thing. I am constantly asking my clients, instead of coming to me, please join just one of my workshops. Instead of coming to us on a regular basis, session after session, this has happened, that has happened, here, this is it, there, this is this, I am in fear, I am lonely, I have a headache, I have acidity. Once and for all, join a course that we do. It's a short course, right? It's a very comprehensive course, but we make it so amazingly simple, even though I'm saying it myself. By doing that, you are making yourself self-empowered. But Kajal, do they do that? About 20-25% will say yes. Do you know what the others tell me? Elle, now come on, I'm coming to you. Why should I learn? Do you understand why? You don't need to go to a practitioner, but of course you need to learn. it's like Ho'oponopono, no, Kajal? Just by knowing those 4 sentences, it doesn't work. You must know what is behind it. Only then do things work. But if you are not ready to learn on your own, if you're not ready to take responsibility for yourself, then yes, go to a Bach Flower practitioner. We are there to help you.
So overall, you know, from everything that we have discussed in the last so many weeks as well, you know, the crux of any emotional healing that we do, whether it's Ho'oponopono, Bach Flower, any kind of work that you're doing on yourself, the first I think the first step is self-responsibility, as Jogita very rightly said, right?
Absolutely.
Till you do not take that, nothing is going to work.
You must be strong enough. You must
Yes.
have faith in yourself, Kajal, to be self-reliant.
Absolutely. And also, in our first session, you had actually mentioned that the human body is not made to fall sick.
Yes, of course we are there to help as Bach Flower practitioners, but Dr. Bach's whole purpose was take responsibility for your own inner balance and your own health.
So, when we say that the human body is not being designed to fall sick.
Yes.
It's not. It's got its capacity to revive itself back, right? We are
completely.
Right? That is why Louis Hay, right? You can heal yourself. All of those remedies also.
That's right.
So when someone comes to you for a Bach consultation, and of course you will probably do you will consult the person, try to find out the crux of the emotional issue, and give the remedy.
Yeah.
But is it important? So do you have to sometimes, in some cases, also make the person realize that you are not taking responsibility for a certain issue?
Will always lead a person into self-responsibility and self-empowerment. The important thing is the when. If someone comes to me in deep distress, Kajal, at that time, for me to tell them about self-responsibility would be callous.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't we all at some point want to lean on someone?
Of course.
So that's not the time I will talk of self-responsibility. I will work with that person till that person becomes stronger, till that person has more capacity to go down that road. Then very gently, that's the road I am taking them on. And you know, Kajal, not a single person resists it. Because genuinely, everyone, intrinsically, everyone wants to help themselves.
Of course.
Intrinsically, no one really wants to be dependent.
Yes.
Right? Absolutely. You may be dependent, you may be clingy, but you don't want that. You want to change that situation.
Absolutely. I agree with you. In fact, okay,
Shalini, does chanting the name of the Bach Flower Remedy help? Let me just explain this, Shalini. There have been times when my clients, let's say, who are traveling abroad, if they meet with an accident or they've suddenly fallen sick or they've broken an arm or a leg with something, they will call me up from there to say, El, what do we do? Right? Now, they may not have the resources, they may not have the opportunity to buy Bach flower over there. At that time, I will certainly tell them to chant the Bach flower name. I will also tell them how to do it, right? I might ask them to rub or to tap certain points in the body. So yes, at those times, I will certainly do that. But it's not my first option. My first option is always to take it so that the energy starts settling. You see, when I'm chanting it, it takes that little bit longer, Shalini.
Okay.
Glad you brought that up, Kajal. The book actually is a very, Jogita and I, we have simplified it in order to make it a guide.
Yes.
It's best used by those who already know Bach flower, but who want it as a quick handy book.
Yes. Yes.
I can send it to you. If you don't have any background of Bach flower, it's very likely that that book might be only partially effective for you. So I still urge, learn Bach flower, then use the guides.
Rescue remedy, my most favorite 2 words.
Everyone, when you talk of Bach Flower Remedies, they will say, oh yes, I have rescue remedy. I have been doing that for years. No.
What is rescue remedy?
Rescue remedy is, first of all, doesn't even come in the 38.
Okay.
Dr. Bach created 38 remedies. He then gave to the world an SOS. Something that you can keep constantly with you, constantly. right? When we travel, we always take rescue remedy besides 2-3 others. So rescue remedy is a mix of 5 other remedies, which Dr. Bach himself created. Now, he created that if I mix a remedy for fear, a remedy for focus, for clarity, a remedy to get rid of any kind of trauma, right? If I mix all of these together, then in that short-term period, Kajal, rescue remedy will work instantly. And I mean instantly.
I'm about that.
Rescue remedy is not a long-term cure.
No.
It's
not an immediate time.
Yes, and that is what Dr. Bach wanted.
Yes.
Because he knows that there are times when we need the remedy immediately, right? We don't need it to work after 3 months.
Right. So, till some time ago, it used to be in my purse. Now it's not anymore, which is, I feel it's a good progression if I'm not carrying rescue remedy with me where I go. Okay. Bach Flower Medicine. 1, where is it available? And 2, how do you take it?
It's available very freely. Now it's become so global, it's become so universal. Yes, rescue can work for sleep issues, but along with rescue remedy, please add another remedy called white chestnut, and that will help you. But please understand that sleep issues mean that there are some certain other issues. Those issues have to be healed for rescue remedy and white chestnut to work. Rescue remedy and white chestnut is not a sleeping pill, right? It helps you to calm down, but what is actually stressing you out has to be addressed first. So it's available everywhere. We have homeopathy pharmacies. There are stores who are also delivering online, right? So just Google search Bach Flower Remedy Mumbai or whichever city you are in, and you'll get the answer. So they're very readily available, homeopathy pharmacies. Stores that deal in health foods very often keep it. Naturopathy, chiropractors, all of these, stores that deal with all of this alternate healing and health medicines and health foods will store your Bach Flower Remedies.
There's a question which was asked.
How do you take it? Your question was the same one here.
Yeah.
They come in mainly in two ways. They come as drops and they come as tiny pills. You know the homeopathy sugar pills?
Yeah, same thing.
They also come as creams, especially rescue remedy comes as creams, and I use that rescue remedy cream on my dogs all the time.
Oh, I had no idea it comes as a cream.
Yes, but they are not available here. You have to get that from London or Dubai or Yes, available definitely. So it comes as creams, it can come as a spray, right? It can come as tiny little gel pastilles, which you just put in your mouth and you can suck on it. Children love it. So basically, if you are getting the drops from 6 drops in a little bit of water, about half a cup, half a glass of water, and that is 1 dose. You have 4 such doses. And you can mix up to 6 or 7 remedies without any problem.
Okay.
Right?
So we definitely know that there is no side effects to it, which is
none. Absolutely none.
No
Absolutely
side effects at
all. No.
Okay. Can you give a quick remedy for just nervousness and anxiety?
I wish I could, but you see, everyone, if I am nervous or you are nervous or someone else is nervous, our nervousness will be for different reasons.
Absolutely.
My nervousness might be that, oh my God, I won't be able to control the situation.
Right.
Your nervousness might be that, oh my God, someone will think badly of me. A third person's nervousness will be someone will find out what I have done wrong. When we are 3 people with 3 different reasons for our nervousness, how can there be one remedy?
Absolutely.
So the Bach has to be addressed to the root.
Right.
You see, again, questions like these are looking at the symptoms.
Absolutely.
The symptoms are not what Bach is interested in. It is the root that Bach is interested in. So if
Oh,
we mix
interesting
the
question.
remedies, is it 6 drops per remedy per dose? You're absolutely right.
Do we take it with or without food and
You know,
water?
Bach is fabulous. You can take it with food, you can take it without food. For those who come to me for alcohol problems, and it's a very slow process for any kind of addiction, I will tell them, take this Bach and add it to your whiskey bottle.
Oh,
So when
really?
they are drinking, yeah. So when they're drinking, they're taking in the Bach. That's how slowly and gently the body begins to stop using that alcohol or whatever is the product as a crutch.
That's
And
damn
addiction
interesting.
is nothing as a, so you can put it into the child's school bottle for, so the child
Water.
has it. You can
Yeah.
add it to your food, put it on your food and just eat up your food. You won't even taste it. It's very, very, very simple. It's not
And
like homeopathy is very strict, no.
how long do you have to take
Now,
the for?
it depends. Now, if for example, if I'm taking something for exam anxiety, then I'll only take it for those days.
Okay.
But if anxiety about anything and everything under the sun is my issue,
Every
then I
day.
have to take it over a period of time, a minimum of 1 month.
Can you get very attached to Bach Flower Remedies?
Oh yes. Very often, then Bach becomes a crutch.
Yeah.
And when that happens, I just stop giving the Bach. And I change the line of treatment to some kind of exercise that the person has to do. Someone has to take, they have to write about something. They have to do something. I will not give the Bach.
Okay. At what age can we start these for children?
As soon as you are born.
Okay. You can go as young as that. Yeah. We've not missed any question L today. I think we're getting them pretty much in.
Fabulous.
Very good. Okay. I have one last question. When right now, like you just said it, that when it becomes a crutch for you, and I feel at some point rescue remedy had become for me, but now it's not anymore.
Yeah.
I would look at it for anything. I would be upset and I would say I'll take rescue remedy.
Because then instead of being about responsibility, self-responsibility, it is, oh, you know what? I have this. Let me take it. I'll feel better.
Yeah. Then you're not taking responsibility for your situation.
Exactly.
Okay. I want just very briefly for you to tell me a combination of Ho'oponopono and Bach.
It works like a dream. So when we are doing emotional release, let's say I'm doing Ho'oponopono with you, Kajal, keeping you in mind due to anger. Then the Bach flower that I will take will be an anger-based Bach flower. If I'm doing a Ho'oponopono for emotional release of fear, then my Bach flower support system will be the Bach for fear. The two merge absolutely beautifully. Kajal, Ho'oponopono, tapping and Bach.
Yeah.
They are an ideal combination. And I cannot even tell you how beautifully they work. So I've told you, depending on what is the emotional release that is required, right? Ho'oponopono is supported by the Bach. Right? But it's not the same Bach. It might be a different Bach combination for me and a completely different Bach combination for you.
Absolutely.
Right? In fact, so many times a mother will call me up because I know the children and I know their energies. They've been coming to me and she'll say, both of them have exams. My Bach combination, though it might have certain common Bach remedies, will be totally different for the son and the daughter because their two structures are totally different, and I know the triggers for the son and I know the triggers for the daughter are totally different.
And is it important for you to know the person a little bit before you start Bach flower with the person?
Yes, Kajal. I need to have, so many times people will message me on Facebook to say, please give me a remedy. And I know they must be feeling quite bad when I tell them, I can't possibly give you a remedy like this without even knowing you. You are telling me I don't sleep at night. But my question is, but why do you not sleep at night? Since how long is this? What is the stress in your life? What kind of a similar pattern are you following? There are so many questions to ask. So, I'm sure sometimes people must be thinking that, what, she just wants to make money and therefore wants a session. But it's not that. If I don't know what is the root, completely going against Dr. Bach's philosophy, and I cannot sit there and say I'm a Bach Flower practitioner, because then I won't be a Bach Flower practitioner. I mean, that's why I said, you can't look at our book and say, oh, Jogita and Elle have said this, so I will take. No. That is the remedy, but what is the root about it?
But this you are talking if somebody is consulting with you online.
Anytime you have to. Yes.
A physical appointment with you and came to you for
it's the same thing. Kajal, for me, it's the same thing. Whether I do an online session with you, like all my sessions now are online sessions. You see, Kajal, when I am an energy intuit, your distance doesn't matter to me. Your physical presence doesn't matter to me. Right? Because your energy talks to me from thousands of miles away. So Ho'oponopono and Bach we've discussed. Now let's come to tapping. What I do is generally a mix of these two or these three together. So I might say that not only will you take the Bach, but when you're doing the tapping, you will first apply the Bach on all the points.
The actual medicine.
The actual Bach.
I think you mentioned a tapping session.
So you'll apply it.
Yeah.
And then start your tapping.
Okay.
So it works beautifully, because again, Bach is energy. Do you know, Kajal, you might be interested to know this. Dr. Bach did not use a single part of the flower in his remedies.
Only the energy.
Only the energy. And how did he get the energy? As a combination of sunlight and dewdrops. There is not a single part of the flower in the energy. And that is why so many people, it's so sad that people run down a system that is so beautiful and so empowering, but so many websites will run it down and say Bach is nothing else, it's only a placebo. Because they don't understand energy and they don't understand how energy works.
Yeah, the not understanding energy is it's a common thing over a lot of.
But Kajal, we are all going to have to understand energy now. This moment is that shift.
Yeah.
This moment is that shift. We'll have to understand energy now. We'll have to understand how to live energetically strong so that we are not sick. We'll have to understand how to energetically connect with people. It's now a shift into self-empowerment, and I am thrilled about it.
So,
so let me tell you this about hysterectomy, Kajal. When we go through hysterectomy, or we go through even pregnancy, conceiving as well as delivery, these are when we start our menstrual cycles as young girls, or we end the menstrual cycles, right? The hormonal imbalance is huge.
Yes.
Right? Now, the hormonal imbalance, when not contained, when not controlled, will 100% affect the emotions. Let me explain why. The hormonal system, which means the endocrine system, right, is in close link like this, to our chakric system. When my endocrine system is all out of whack, my chakras are all out of whack. My chakras are all out of whack, my emotional stability is completely out of whack. So you see, at these specific times, Bach is a huge help.
Okay. I was going to ask you about two things. One is, we tend to, I cannot say I'm taking my own example.
Okay.
I'm an emotional eater.
Yes. Many are.
is there a remedy in Bach that will help?
No, Kajal, there is not one remedy in Bach. Now, again, emotional binging comes from so many different roots.
Yes.
Right? Some people will emotionally binge when they are terrified, when they are scared. Then they start eating like hogs. Others, when they are very angry and they are not able to show their anger, passive aggressiveness.
Yes.
Right? Passive aggressive people are emotional eaters 99 times out of 100. Because they have to push down their anger. What better than a huge burger or a bowl of popcorn or an ice cream or a chocolate bar? Those who have cravings, those who emotionally binge, have an emotional root which very, very often they do not want to address.
My next question was, when you go through a massive emotional situation,
Yes.
it could be a loss of a member, physical
a
loss,
trauma,
death, or a really big trauma, and at that time you don't know what to do. But maybe some of us who are constantly working with energy and understand energy can sometimes come to terms with that situation a lot more faster than a regular other person.
Yes.
A physical trauma of such a large extent, can Bach also help bringing things
brilliantly, Kajal? I can't tell you, just brilliantly. There is a specific remedy for trauma, which if you start using immediately, and I will share that name of the remedy with you, because that is not based on the root. It's there is a trauma, and start taking Star of Bethlehem.
Star of Bethlehem. Okay.
And when there is a trauma, you're in an accident, or you've heard of some beloved person in an accident, or suddenly you are here and your child is abroad and you hear, oh my God, my child has COVID, right? All these are trauma experiences for the emotional system. Star of Bethlehem along with rescue remedy. You take a few doses of that and you'll be able to address that situation in a far calmer, far clearer mind.
Are there any parting notes, El, that you would like to share? Thank you very,
Thank
very,
you.
very much. And
big hug.